I have clicked on the record, it says connecting, waiting. Taking time, I don't know. Usually it doesn't take this time. Okay. Nikhil, are you seeing recording on?
It is showing meeting recording is in progress for me.
It says recording in progress.
Yeah.
Yeah, recording is in progress. We see the red button.
Thank you. Thank you. So let me now start the and make sure KRS is in the meantime. Yeah. So welcome everyone. Saturday, today the 11th October. This is a what do you call panel discussion as well as presentation on quantum epidemiology analysis QEA, and the panel discussion people include Dr. K.R.S.Murthy, myself Prakash Ramchandran, and Taposh Dutta-Ray. So this is sponsored by Emerging Open Tech Foundation eOTF, IEEE INGR International Network Generation Roadmap, and by the we call it as SVQAC, that is Silicon Valley Quantum and Advanced Computing. So this is a meetup group which has been focused entirely on quantum, and this comes as part of that. And let me start moving on. So these are sponsors, as I already described, IEEE INGR QIT. Working group is within that INGR, Emerging Open Tech Foundation and SVQA, which as I described. We have AIML working group, which is also part of this INGR. And Dr. K.R.S.Murthy from Proton Equity is joining us. Has he joined? Please let us know.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Let's see while he joins. Okay. So I will just describe. So you have everything which is related to quantum epidemiology analysis, and this is which actually we do in webinar format. And to start with, the agenda I will describe. So we have myself, I'm moderating right now, Dr. K.R.S.Murthy, who will introduce us to the epidemiology, and the 30 minutes time for him. Speaker 2 is me. I'll talk more about the use case of mosquito-borne disease. And then we have a panel joined by Taposh Dutta-Ray, who is on the panel, and we'll field some debate, internal debate questions and open QA. So approximately we are going to take 1.5 hours. So let me introduce, but I need KRS. Let me just. KRS? Yeah, KRS, do one thing. I am putting you on speaker, and you let me know whether.
So what I will do is that I'm going to use my phone itself and try to see, because what happened was.
Sir, no explanation, no explanation. All people are waiting. Please go ahead. Yeah, okay. You join because we have to introduce you. Okay.
I know, but let me say, make sure that I in first.
Okay. Okay, KRS is joining. In the meantime, let me just go through the abstract of quantum epidemiology analysis, what we think and what Dr. KRS brought this to our notice. So there is an ongoing debate going on about the chronic illnesses and vaccination, etc., in the Senate and in the Congress, and that is the context in which Dr. KRS suggested that we should have a specific event, and we put together within 2-3 days what is so what K.R.S.Murthy is going to do is how the epidemiology is defined and what is the fundamentals, and he will go through the concept, introduce us to the details of various viruses and all that. Then we'll follow with the what the present how quantum computing analysis and all will help us in figuring ways to connect to it. And then it is important that researchers produce some vaccination to be able to, as we went through in the COVID-19 era. So we understand that, but to set the context properly and bring the difficulty in identifying the various viruses and all, mutants and all, and followed by we'll have myself following with some examples, not necessarily uh, uh, simple ones, I'll put it, and then we'll have Taposh and go over the whole what do you call, whole slew of things to and put ourselves to open questions. So here are the three of us, Dr. K.R.S.Murthy, myself, and Taposh Dutta-Ray. So I think this is the time for me to introduce, but I need him. So I'm going to do something which is what I had done previously.
Yeah, I have to go back all the way to
KRS, you don't have to do anything. Just speak here and I'll ask people whether they can hear you. Go ahead.
But I cannot. I have to see the screen though.
Yeah. So you need the screen. Okay. Let me see. How can I? Let me show you. Let me show you the. No. One sec. Can you see the screen now?
Where on my iPhone?
Just a second. Yeah, on your iPhone, I mean.
On my iPhone, you mean?
Can you see?
Yeah, I can see the screen.
Yeah.
Turn on the speaker. Yeah.
Okay. So let me introduce you.
Yeah.
You can see. Okay. Go ahead. First.
But I need my I can speak, but I wanted to go through that thing that you can.
Yeah. That will bring as we move. We'll bring. So first, let me introduce you.
Okay.
Welcome, Dr. K.R.S.Murthy. Just to make sure, Nikhil, can you hear us? All? Can you hear us? Hello?
Yeah. We can hear you.
Well, so we have Dr. K.R.S.Murthy here. He is the CEO of Knowledge India, of our kind we call K India. Of course, he was part of the NASA Foundation. He was to even go back as early as Aryabhatta. He was in the design team of Abdul Kalam in India for Aryabhatta. He came here as a professor and joined, I think, somewhere in the Southern California. Huh? Yeah. Cal Poly Pomona he joined, and then later on he has been on the IEEE various societies. He is on the board of governors and managed several things. So he has, yeah, and then currently he is one of the what you call M&A experts in the proton. He has got his own firm.
Proton Equity Global.
Yeah, Proton Equity Global, and he is one of the what you call Valley is one of the strongest technical as well as management guru. So let me hand over to him to speak about the epidemiology to start with. Yeah, and then go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Prakash Ramchandran and the team, Taposh, Dr. Taposh, for co-organizing the whole event. And sorry for confusion. I was already on the WebEx. I got kicked out and back and forth. That's all the things. Now, what we are going to be discussing is very important from the currency perspective of the virus that we all had, and it's supposed to have subsided now. It started in end of 2019 actually, went through 2020, and then vaccination was developed. Normally when vaccinations are developed, there are particular procedures where you have to do the testing, double-blind study testing, etc. in medical drug discovery when they do, or the vaccination they develop and introduce. And because the COVID had spread so fast, it was considered emergency, at least from the American side now. And so the whole approval of the vaccination was, fast tracked, if you want to use a mild word. And then people started vaccinating, and over time there was a confusion what age you have to go give, whether senior citizens you can give, or for children at below an age and so on, adults should be okay, even though it's fast-tracked vaccination program. And however, not worrying about all the other confusions, it was administered and so on, and we have forgotten about it. None of us are wearing masks and so on, as you already know, in any part of the world. However, there is already happening, as I'm speaking, a congressional inquiry based on some complaints that got invoked, etc., where the claim is that it's affecting especially children, and the children who either got affected, they were vaccinated, whatever the thing is, the children have become there are a lot of problems, health problems overall, and they have become a problem in different parts of the body, and how they can walk or talk or etc. Almost like undeveloped babies and so on. So that is an issue, and there were doctors who spoke in the. If you have not been in a congressional hearing, which I have been for supercomputers, me and Seymour Cray, the father of supercomputing, together we presented and testified, some time ago. And what happens is the different congressional caucus will be there, and selected people. The whole Congress may not be there, and the investigations are done. People have to speak under oath and say this is what's happened, and doctors give expert opinion, vaccination experts give opinion, etc. The different people selected and screened, they start giving their statement under oath. It is happening already 2-3 sessions. It's on YouTube. You simply have to say COVID-19 and you will congressional hearing. You will see them happening. It goes for an hour and a half to 2 hours. Very long. So I've heard that whole thing. Then I said, this virology, epidemiology, etc. are made up of many factors that influences viruses occurring, mutating, etc. And a very important precursor to what that topic I'm going to mention, we need to understand that the viruses have like a parent, child, grandchild kind of a thing. There are multiple multiple mutations that happen, and these are spoken in Greek alphabets. That is the tradition in the industry. Alpha version, beta version, gamma version, lambda version. You may have all observed all these things happening, right? And they said, oh, this is the new version now. There's a mutation, new vaccination. The vaccination that you develop for a given mutation version or generation, it's called generation, you cannot use it for the next generation. It has mutated. Nature, and I call it nature now in this case, the mutation, once the mutation happens, you cannot use the same vaccination to the mutated version at all. And another important issue in this is that multiple generations may exist in different parts of the globe, and the people will be affected potentially maybe from the previous generation, current generation, etc. And so that's an important issue that we need to understand. And because of, say, you all know as quantum computing experts, enthusiasts, and so on, it's important to see the distinct value of the quantum computing paradigm compared to the regular computing paradigm is that you can take many parameters, variables, conditions, all in one kind of analysis using quantum computing paradigm. And for example, those who are already familiar with the quantum computing paradigm, the quantum computing is whoever develops and so on is based on different physics. They're not the same. Don't assume there's only one physics, one thing, and quantum computing devices are coming up. One of them is what is called the superposition of the electron, so-called orbiting around the atom. I'm using those words very carefully because there's a lot of confusion in physics. I'm a hardcore physicist with 3 masters and a PhD in physics, right? Not that vaccination bad, so you have to be able to be very careful saying this physics and the other physics can also be used for quantum computing. So its superposition means electrons are supposed to be there in all the points, all the individual points around the orbit. That is the concept. And now there's another concept called qubit. You already know. I have to make sure I give a little primer on that. A qubit is like a binary bit that we are used to in the digital world, or binary digital, if I want to call it. Here, the word qubit basically means quantum bit, and that number of quantum bits depends on how many in the superposition in the particular physics that is used for quantum computing are being recognized and used and observed and monitored. Its effect to get the different states and different qubits. That is what it is. It started with 2 or 3 in the beginning, almost 5-6 years ago, but now there are more qubits being developed in the thousands to getting to 10,000s now. Here it's like in a binary digital program that we have zeros and ones. There are only 2 states. Here there are many states, and that's why the concept of 2 to the power of n is being used. N is the number of states. If you take for 4 states that you can recognize and then detect, etc., and do the computing, and then it's 2 to the power of 4. Then people are now doing, hundreds and thousands, and so it will be 2 to the power of 1,000. You all know the power of 2,000 matters a lot, right? Power of 2 matters a lot. So the number increases in such a big number, and now potentially you can do large variables that you can compute. And that, now I'm coming back to the epidemiology and virology, where there are many parameters. As I said, generation issues are there, what kind of virus it is, and which part of the globe it is active, which generation is active, in which part. All of the details are important. Even in epidemiology, for example, for you, the epidemics, this is generally called epidemics. In the epidemiology, you need to look at various parameters. It's not like 1 or 2 or 3. Now this is big number, and so quantum computing is the only or ideal tool sets that we can use to do the analysis and computing. Now, I'm basically convincing ourselves that the virology, epidemiology area, vaccination area, etc., to be developed for a given virus requires quantum computing, and that's one part. Second part here is that the viruses. It's good to give an understanding of the virus. A virus has a core inside, right? And then it, in this case, coronavirus, it depends on the shape. It's called coronavirus, and there are spikes going around all through the sphere of the globule of the virus. That's what we have to be able to understand, and so they, because they're spores in a way, they can spread, fly, but they're not active and they cannot multiply till it finds a host. In this case, it could be animals also. We are concerned as humans. If it's in the area where we are breathing, that's one way easily the micro level spores can go into your mouth or nose. That's why masks were being worn. And once it goes, it now has the host. It can multiply, and then when it multiplies, and it can see up to some multiplication, it's okay. The body has immunity and it goes back and fights. However, after some kind of multiplication, you cannot, the humans cannot handle it, and then they have to be hospitalized, etc. You come across it affects the lung because it's going through your nose and the mouth, and that's the first place it does. Lots of pulmonary problems will be coming in, and now that if you inhale or anything, and then even when you eat, you want to be very careful what you eat and what kind of spores may be, sitting on that. Dining, it will be dining at the same time when you're dining. And so these are the things that I want to make sure we come back. And why quantum computing again, right? Has to be used for analysis and etc. And for using quantum computing for virus industry overall and how epidemics go and spread, the issue, okay, I have a new technology concept that we need, not concept, but application here, IoTs with sensors. Internet of Things, in this case of Internet of healthcare related things. You have to create a new abbreviation or virus thing and so on. And we need to be able to deploy these IoTs or sensor devices and networks as many areas as possible, not only in where humans are there, right? At least, and then it could be all over the globe, and they may be moving from place to place based on the wind flow, etc., right? They don't fly on their own. If they ride, the spores ride on the wind path, etc. And these now there are two kinds of, it depends on what kind of DNA or RNA, that requires a lot more details. You understand DNA, right? And that is basically the signature of the the virus. And then RNA is another similar one. Otherwise, I'll have to give a lecture on that detail, which I'm avoiding because of the time, and I can get into the details. And based on those two things, the virus with its spores come, and the spores are basically they grab, right? They can roll around, that kind of a thing. It can attach to any living body, especially that's, and then it becomes active. It has enough intelligence in its core, not a bag of tricks, if you want to easily use the word, and that starts acting upon it. And quantum computing has to be used. And I have made a list that we will be sharing, but not to take too much time, because I want Prakash is another expert, and Dr. Taposh is another expert who will be speaking after this, and I will come back and then close the topic as required. But I request all of you as US citizens, world citizens, to look at this congressional hearing. You see, because I don't want to be commenting on it, because that could be a little political sometimes. It's not done properly, how they choose, who they choose, who are the top experts at all, who are there, etc. is an issue. But that's how the congressional hearing that happens at all. Just Google, you will see it. If you have a problem, and you all probably know my email, Prakash's email, we will share with you on that. Prakash, that's good. I'm not going to go to about 25 application areas that we probably have to take in different sessions. That was meant to be, and I'm cutting this out now, going to you and the other colleagues to be able to speak. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Dr. K.R.S. I know age tells on people, and it's hard to work with the devices. And we definitely have heard from you, from horse mouth, we say, what the virus and COVID-19 is. So with that, I'll switch over myself as a moderator. My background is I'm more a technical guy. However, I did something in 2000 because of the HIPAA, and have some background on what we did during the Craig Winters era and Bill Clinton, when in 2000 we mapped the entire human genome. So my background being on the technical side, I'll just try to keep it technical from my side. But just to introduce you, a use case. So there are many diseases that come. So there is there is a non-communicable disease and communicable. So non-communicable means it doesn't go through the air and catch the other guy. So or people to people transfer doesn't happen. Like some are hereditary, like cancer. That's not communicative. It is non-communicative. It is automatically because of the gene it comes. Whereas there are others like uh, asthma, and it comes from people to people by uh, getting like COVID also. So there are again another like TB, right? So there are many which are communicable and which are non-communicable. Our focus right now is on one, which is malaria, a use case. I want to go through one pass so that we understand what malaria is. So malaria is a mosquito-borne disease. This is very common in India, and there are variation, dengue and all that. But let's just focus saying that it spreads by Anopheles mosquitoes. So there is a kind of mosquito which uh, that is a parasite. It has a malaria parasite we call, and you remember there is a difference between parasite and actual DNA RNA. We are talking about here a parasite which attaches itself to the Anopheles mosquito, and that causes the blood cells. So there are cells now. You go by chromosomes. There are 23 chromosomes. Male has XX and female has XX and male has XY. The 23rd we call it, but nevertheless they are not. Chromosomes is 1 to 23. 7 to 8 is where the X is, and the smallest one is Y, which is the male carry. So which is, we put it as 23. But so when you have a chromosome, they are made up of what you call the genes, and there is a sequence before I go into that. So as as Dr. K.R.S. said, DNA is important, RNA is important. So DNA is nothing but it's an acid. It is deoxy bond nucleic acid, and it's a 3D double helix. So the structure is double helix, it is 3D, and there are what you call, it is made up of some of the complementary AT and CG acid. These are acids. Basically you got DNA is made of nitrogen, carbon and phosphorus, and made of 4 nucleotides surrounded by cellular liquid. So there has to be cellular liquid surrounding it, and that's how you have ATCG. And DNA, what happens is DNA has a way of replicating itself, provided of course you follow the replication process by what do you call they call it initiation, expansion, and followed by termination. So you can initiate the expansion of the double helix into single, and then it will complementarily, it will, ATCGs are complementary, so it will correspondingly create a pair. Like you can see here, this is a adenine and this is a thymine. So A and T go together. Similarly, C and G go together. So you will have a within that 3D helix, you will have these combinations attaching to each other, and that's how they become what you call. So replication process in DNA produces the parent child, as K.R.S. mentioned. So you have got the parent strand, and then you have got the parent strand divided into 2 child, and each child will have its, they replicate in themselves. DNA has got its habit of, it has to happen when enzymes are there. Enzymes are nothing but kind of a liquid which is has to be part of the. So if you have a cell, within the cell you have got there are billions of cells in a human body. Every cell has a nucleus, and some cell. So the nucleus has the copy of the whole life, and that is the DNA. And these are nothing but patterns. These are billions of patterns. Normally, every chromosome has got some thousands of patterns, and this is what constitutes that. So what I want to bring here is simple. DNA, and DNA has a replication process. DNA has further processes like you can have transcription, translation, termination, all those things. So there are processes involved in that. So CRISPR is an array of all these. So we call it as uh, continuous replication, um, and then there is a interspace, and there is a what you call the pattern, which is what is that. And that CRISPR array is what is important, because that is the where it produces what you call, you can say, clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. So CRISPR is one such thing which is able to do the process of cutting the gene thereby. So that means, like parent child, we said we cut, same way RNA is a messenger. So DNA and RNA are similar, except that you replace the what you call the helix. Instead of a double helix, it will be single helix. And the way it works is that you have, instead of a C, A T, T is replaced by U, so it becomes another strand. So single strand and double strand, that is the key. And why do we need this? Because we need gene editing to be able to overcome the malarial mosquito population. And you remember, virus is virus, it doesn't do anything until it gets a body to replicate, and that replication of things happen within the either the insect or within the our own body cell. So that is where, yeah, our body is the host. Exactly. So our body becomes the host and they start replicating, and that causes, even the COVID had the similar thing. And how do we try to get rid of it is, you use the same method that the virus does to replicate. We use the same method to find out through AI and through quantum precision to lock into the place where it is replicating, and um, put a signature which is different, exactly opposite of what it is, and cut it off. So basically, and let it repair. So the mutation can happen, at the same time repair can automatically. So human body has got the capability to fix in itself. That's how we control malaria. And this, whatever we do, is called population control. So basically we are converting a Anopheles mosquito to a non-Anopheles, because it has no impact, because it is cut off from that particular pattern which is it is trying to replicate. So you cut off the replication and you are done. And this can be applied to many similar, but you have to identify first what is the right place in that sequence. This is like a this genome, human genome is like a huge sequence. And where do you find that exact precise place, and how do you cut it off? How do you remove the initiation, expansion, and cutting it off? That is, termination of that is very critical. And this is the technical aspect of it which I wanted to bring. And so important thing is, you have viruses and you have vaccinations. So vaccinations are not only, you can, what we, even from the Louis Pasteur days, when vaccinations were developed, the first thing is you go and identify experimental way of finding out who has got what. And then if the you find that particular serum and add to the wet labs, and then try to identify and uh, define what way it is attacking and how to counter attack it. And that's what the whole process of vaccination is. So vaccination is,
Let me add a very important
sure,
concept
sure,
here,
go ahead.
Prakash.
Yeah.
See, what happens is, whatever the inoculation or vaccination
Mhm.
that is developed in the pharmaceutical company,
Mhm.
that that is now mute, if you want to use the word. So it is not active when that vaccination is developed and put it in a vial, and that's what's injected on you or us as humans on that. So these are not alive or thing, but as soon as that is given, the body recognizes, is very intelligent. Our body is more intelligent than you can think. I can give a full 6 months course on what it is. And so what happens is, the body now responds back.
Mhm.
You know, that and that it notices it is something new and it attacks on it, and then the vaccination works, if you want to use the word, over time. Go ahead, please.
Exactly. So I think KRS filled in the gap where I had mentioned. So what I want to do at this time is that we know that there are viruses, there are vaccination, and there are generally hypotheses. You say, like example, one example, tobacco. tobacco causes, it's one of the causes for what you call TB. Now how? So this is a hypothesis. So this needs to be proved by taking samples, and this was done over 50 years to prove that it is. So it is not like ordinary thing. Initially it was, but now with the quantum, you don't need 14-15 years to generate. You can do it in a year and year and a half. That was proved in COVID-19. Yeah, of course you do a false start because you don't know, because the variations, they keep variations of the viruses is year to year for flu example, right? So there are many things. All we want to do is understand that human beings have their limitation, irrespective of whether it is a president or a ordinary person. The whole thing is we have to understand we do mistakes, but we have to correct, and we do follow rules. And if you don't do methodically, then it will impact. So therefore, there is a list of viruses and their reports, how they occur and what should we do with the NIH and with the CDC and all. So those documents are really, yes.
This is the national body in USA, and there are similar bodies if you are in another country probably, and that agency's role is to be able to do all this research, analysis, provide guidance as well to the pharmaceutical companies, drug discovery companies, etc. Inform the people. If you go to the website, say COVID, etc., it will tell you. By the by, but I want to add one more that probably I happen to know. There are new viruses already there. You are not hearing it. It's funny. We are making big deal about some things. There are new viruses. I can give you a list and detail. I don't want to take away a precious time from Prakash and other people on the panel. So that's a very important point for us to keep in mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the only thing I want to add is there is a biological license application which has to be made after doing all this research and all that.
Yeah.
And unless it is approved, you just can't go and inoculate, so vaccinate anybody. So that's why there is an approval requirement, because it is dangerous. Half knowledge is dangerous, and so it is important to follow the guidelines which are there in the CDC as well as NIH and etc. in other countries also. So with that,
I want to stress on one more, Prakash.
Yeah, sure.
See, the issue that we all knew, not that the government didn't know and so on, they knew, but because of everything started spreading so fast, right? And I don't want to get into the details of how it spread. Travelers from China were infected. They went to different parts. They were on vacation. They were infected at the time, and it seems, based on many people that I know, when people came into the airport from another country, they should have been quarantined and etc., which was not done for the first 3-4 months at least. That's a very big important issue on the at the entry point of any country or even different locations. This has to be tested. The people should be said, okay, K.R.S.Murthy, we want to test you now, like what's happening in our government. And this has to be done routinely so that we don't know if someone is carrying for whatever reason it is. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So with that, I think we will bring in the third panel professional here, Taposh Dutta-Ray. He is the organizer of what you call this SVQ.
Yes,
AC,
you can just
yeah.
you
So
can just say Silicon Valley quantum computing.
yeah, Silicon Valley quantum computing and advanced computing. So what he is, of course, he is speaking as personal on his personal this one. He is also working for Kaiser Permanente, just for your information, but he is only going to give you what he can speak. So Taposh has a various role in the managed care which Kaiser Permanente delivers. He's also a student right now. He's always been a student. He learns a lot. And yeah, Harvard, he's working in Harvard Medical School, which is in progress. And so he brings a lot of information. So what I will do is just to give you some background on healthcare management and governance. I would like him to comment on this slide. At least comment what is it and how do you.
Sure. So yeah, my background is in healthcare. For the last decade or so, I've been working with healthcare. I was part of the team, or I led the entire epidemiology section for the COVID at Kaiser work. So I have some deep knowledge about epidemiology models and their interaction, how to use it with AI. In addition to that, my team also does a lot of work has done a lot of work in image processing, machine learning, and AI as well. And I've been running Silicon Valley quantum computing for about 3 years now. At Harvard, my area of research is predominantly at responsible AI at the intersection of clinical ethics and AI. So some of the things I can talk about, and these are again, as Prakash said, my point of view and not representing that of Kaiser or Harvard, basically. So tumor detection, we there is a lot of prior work done on image processing. Even before quantum, there was a lot of work done, and now with AI, this is getting better. There have been some reports that uh, the image processed by the machine are now better than the image processed by humans, because humans are prone to error. So there is a lot of um, possibilities in the future where you could use techniques such as simulations, and then move the, say, if it's a virus, no, not a virus, if it's a tumor, you can move the tumor or project the trajectory of the tumor, how it's going to increase or decrease. You will be able to do that in near future with just AI, and quantum is going to help with its optimization capabilities even to get better. So that's where AI and ML will cross quantum computing. I think quantum computing right now, from a very precision standpoint, especially the one that using annealing technologies such as D-Wave, will provide great input. We have a couple of papers written in quantum and machine learning as well, intersection. We right now are at a somewhat early stage, predominantly because of the number of qubit limitation, but beyond that, we can also go, uh, once the number of qubits has increased, we can improve our precision as well. So those were the two things I wanted to highlight. In addition to that, I see some note about FHIR, which is the new standard for transactions of healthcare EMR data. There is a lot of progress in that area. Data is the lifeline for these things. So FHIR is good. Finally, model building, hypothesis testing, clinical trials. These are the roles of already always going to be there. AI can build models faster, but I think from a responsible AI perspective, validation will be a critical thing. And I think the focus on those things will become very important. Lastly, I can tell you a few things about vaccines and viruses. Viruses are gonna be here. They were here before humans came in. They will be here after the humans go. Viruses have been around for longest time period, and they will be around. Viruses are very capable. They can evolve very fast. Um, they can evolve, mutate, and no one epidemiology model can solve for everything. So during COVID, we saw there were multiple viruses, and we, as Dr. K.R.S. mentioned, we gave them Greek nomenclature: alpha, beta, omega. Um, they have their strengths and weaknesses, but viruses mutate, and mutation is what they do. So we need to accept that. And same thing applies for flu. Flu has been around for a very long time. Every winter there is a flu crisis. We The way industry tracks flu is basically, for us in northern hemisphere, we look at what's happening in the southern hemisphere. So I always look at data from southern hemisphere to understand how bad the impact is going to be in the northern hemisphere, and that's a general industry trend. So some places have
Because
winter
of the
prior to
temperatures,
Eid.
isn't it?
Say that again, Dr. Murthy.
Because of the temperatures in the southern hemisphere,
Yes,
and so they can thrive and multiply, and they may not be as good in very very cold temperatures.
that's true. That's true. And then there is other factors, right? Right now, one factor is that. The second factor is how people travel, the travel patterns. The other factors can be the climate patterns, and there's a climate change. I mean, if the winter is the general time frame where viruses try to multiply and grow. Summer people are out, although we have seen trends changing and seasonalities changing. But those are the common patterns that look into consideration for viruses. So the role of quantum and AI in epidemiology is going to become more and more relevant. There will be more use of AI models as well as precision through quantum computing as well in epidemiology. I think this is a good topic to think about. When Prakash reached out to me to talk about this thing, I was like, yeah, this is very relevant, especially because this is going to be the flu season starting in Northern California right now. So I think with that, I'll hand it over back to
Actually,
Prakash.
and also another essence of time now for this is because of the congressional hearing about whatever the effects were. It looks, they have been discussing for 2 hours at a time, or I'm seeing multiple session days where they are saying COVID this, COVID that. None of them have any time mentioned that it was fast tracked. It was not. No one wanted to intentionally fast track because of the very quick spread from the Wuhan from areas. It's already discussed and kind of even proven, going and spreading all around the world when people travel, as Dr. Taposh was mentioning it. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so at this time, what I'll say is the diagram on the right you see is the what you call platform, kind of a platform, because there are two. One is the what you call you use the you do use computational thing to identify. Another is the clinical trials, which are wet. Sometimes they call it wet labs. So
Wet chemistry.
yeah. So basically, it's a biochemistry, organic chemistry mainly because of the nitrogen, carbon, and the phosphorus, which are key for the formation of DNA, RNA, and all that. And so, what you do is clinical trials can happen on a monkey, can happen on a computational first, proving validation, then maybe trying it on mouse or some kind of a animal, and then finally putting into the human body. So there are certain ethical things which we need to go through, and therefore it is important to know that managing and governance of this is very important, and which Dr. Taposh already brought to us. Now let me go to some questions. Uh, so the first one I'll put it is for all three of us to answer. Is vaccine technology a boon or a curse? K.R.S.?
Yeah, I didn't hear the last word.
Okay, is vaccine technology a boon or a curse?
No, it's not. It's neither a boon nor a curse. It's very much required. Vaccine technology is very much required because, as you know, we all know, and Dr. Taposh particularly mentioned, viruses have existed long before humans at all, and their behavior has, kind of, they have become probably more intelligent and sneaky, etc., to attack some host. It's looking for a host, not necessarily humans, and so this is very much required. Virus is not going to go away, right?
Correct.
And epidemiology, we may call it a subject. Epidemics has already been there, right?
Sure. So,
Yeah.
Taposh, go ahead.
No, I
You have
mean, I actually like the answer from Dr. Murthy. I think it's very much required. It's required for humans, for sure, for us to basically um, get ourselves immunized to the virus, basically. So, in order to get reduce suffering, reduce harm to ourselves, this is required. But at the end of the day, it's the choice of the people. You want to take it or not. Some
Good.
things are important. As long as people understand the value of it, they'll take it. But yeah, from my perspective, and again, this is my perspective, that we would highly recommend vaccines to be taken by the humans, because it's going to reduce harm, reduce your suffering. But some people want to not do it. It's up to them. So it's neither a boon or a curse, but it's a need of the hour. It's a required. I
Excellent.
like the way it's
Yeah, and also it's more important to build immunity, because immunity is very important, because we all have cancer. Cancer is, we all have cancer, but doesn't mean big cancer. Very little things are there, and the body is reacting to it and taking care of it without we knowing, because our human body, even animal body, are very intelligent, more intelligent than we still know, even now with all the research. So that's what we have to always keep in mind, that the vaccinations are okay. That's important. That's after the fact. Before the fact, we have to learn about immunity and immunity building, food habits, etc. And immunity testing, routinely we should be able to do, as we do other things, right? In the healthcare chair, when it's done, they check the blood pressure, etc. We should be able to have an immunity test, right? Even though blood will give you some information, that should be a separate category. Awareness: eat this, do this, because there are a lot of quacks saying do this, it'll work, but the CDC has to authorize only the qualified people to be able to explain to the general public.
Okay, so let me interject here. So I am reminded of my science club high school days, when I was all, is science a boon or a curse? So so that reminded me of that. So essentially, lot of things you debate on pro side and on the other side, but essentially uh, some zero sum game it is called. So you have both sides and we have to balance it. With that, I'll move on to the second, and this time I'll ask Taposh to answer. What are the roles of CDC and NIH?
Go ahead.
Yeah, one second. Can you hear me? I
Yeah,
think.
CDC
Okay.
and NIH, what are the
So
roles?
CDC, I mean, the basic goal for the CDC is to protect the health and safety of Americans, right? That's the American CDC, right? What it does, it basically is responding to the health emergencies such as COVID. I mean, look at health security, look at setting up health standards, looking at having a discussion. So CDC played a very major role during COVID timeframe. Although it had a late start, but it did really well catching up, and we were able to project how the pandemic is going to behave. I had a lot of interactions with CDC, working with their team that point in time during COVID, to understand how um, it is the super standard of for overall US, how a particular virus is going to behave. They do a lot of surveillance studies. So in epidemiology, especially during COVID, we did a lot of surveillance of the viruses. They also looked into the wastewater treatment and everything. So CDC is the global body. National Institutes of Health, NIH, does a lot of research, and it's the research arm. Basically, it's separate from CDC, but it basically does a lot of work in that research area. I have good friends and colleagues who are also at Harvard, or also at NIH, doing research and policy work in National Institutes of Health. Yeah, so
And
those are the
NIH
roles.
Yeah,
more
thank you.
PhD type of people who do research as well, and they even fund organizations to do research projects, as we all know. And every time we speak NIH, we should also be able to speak on sister organizations, daughter organizations. Is called National Cancer Institute, NCI, as an example. There are similar, not trying to limit to one or two. It's a group of national research labs.
Excellent.
Yeah, no, that's true, and I have my own thinking on these both CDC and IH, and then even FDA, right? And their roles all working in. These are separate. Um, I like to say that they are, and it's in an upcoming op-ed that I was writing. Today it's like a archipelago of islands, right? Small things in that entire continuum of life. These are small places or small dots which needs to be connected basically. So we'll come to a time where all these institutes will more collaborate and more talk to each other in the future. Today they are separate, slightly separate, especially the FDA, how the foodborne diseases on the devices move into the public sector where people use it. CDC tracks viruses, NIH does research. There is a continuum that's going to come up in the future pretty soon.
Excellent. So
Yeah.
we'll be looking forward to your op-ed, and when it comes, please share with all of us. I think with that, I'll move on to the COVID-19. We had the struggle, we know the pandemic, but I want to know what did we draw lessons from that, and that I think KRS is the right person to. Go ahead.
I'm just
Yeah.
the whole team, and I have invited many of my very eminent doctor friends. Example, Dr. Kurana, his whole family is world famous doctors and professors and so on. Anyway, he is on the line, and his wife, Dr. Bharati Kurana, Dr. Ritu Kurana as well. Okay, and his sister, Dr. Bharati Kurana from Harvard. So they are the people who should speak, but I'm speaking because I'm on the stage today. See what is important. Repeat the question so that I can.
Yeah. What are the struggles one faced in COVID-19 pandemic?
Yes,
and
exactly.
what more than that, what were the lessons drawn from it?
Lessons drawn, right?
Yes.
I already alluded to, just to refer, that when this happened, Wuhan happened so suddenly, so vehemently spread out. And Wuhan as a part, it's called Wuhan virus or whatever, COVID-19. And there were countries involved here, right, who were doing biological warfare, maybe, right? This is happening, nothing new. Not just because of COVID-19, and because of this, viruses could be spread. And we should be alert on it. Each country, each citizen, each governing body in each country should be alert on it. That's one important thing before it spreads, number one. And when it spreads, we have to be cautious in cutting down how quickly they can spread, because you have to make sure as people travel in cars and airplanes, etc., could be on ship, any mode people travel, those who are infected can infect someone else if they're not quarantined routinely. People may not quarantine on their own, according to me, right, as individuals, because they don't know, they're not aware, etc. So, according to me, spot checks have to be done. You know, when during Christmas time, and there will be cops standing and waiting for when cars come in and say, okay, they put a torchlight on your and see the eyes and say, have you drunk, etc. Not that they're being negative, they're protective of the whole thing. Similar things should be done, according to me, all over the world. Keenly, these checks have to be done, whether it is being spread intentionally or unintentionally. Spreading has to be very seriously monitored, controlled at least and avoided over time. Now, that's second two. And then when there's something like this happen, we need to either put more resources to be able to develop the vaccination and through do proper what is called double blind study, which I'm not going to explain because of the time. Keep that word. Come back to me. I'll be glad to explain. And other in my team and other doctors can explain. This double blind study is very important to be done. And if it's not done properly, you're not doing a good job of any drug, not only for the vaccination, etc., that is developed. That's a very important point, right? And then, in addition to that, because it's fast track and it was not known to people, at least if people know that this is being fast tracked, what are the effects, and debates should happen in what's called town hall meetings, where everyone should be able to listen. This congressional body should do that also, right? Broadcasted on YouTube. You should be able to tune in and watch and say, this is a very important issue as a country, right? Looking from a country level and so on, state borders and wherever it is, we should do spot checks, voluntary checks, booths should be there when people should be able to go and, spit whatever it takes to put the samples in some little, vials and put it there. And as volunteers, people give blood, right? As volunteers, this kind of a thing should be there. When you go for your own routine tests by the hospital that you have, there, some of these things should be routinely done as a practice, because this is in terms of not only the people's health, financial issues, spreading, and unintended consequences like people, the kids, especially they're vulnerable, senior citizens are vulnerable, they're developing something very fast, and unintended consequences are there, right? That should be avoided.
Thank you. So what I'll do is we have learned a lot on the COVID. Now let's just check one simple thing. What is the special about children and vaccine? I will pass on to Taposh. You want to take it?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, my perspective is children are in a growth stage. They are going to grow. So we sometimes are very careful about the impact of how the vaccines will impact them. There has been uncorrelated or some correlated scenarios where they may or may not cause some other allergies or something like that. So there has been a lot of discussions. I don't have either anything to support or not support these claims, but care has to be taken more, especially for a young individual who's going to grow. So with that, that's
Yeah,
what we did during COVID. Everybody, kids were given separate thoughtful treatment, and that's been done even right now. So I think that's all I can talk about.
yeah, excellent. So KRS, do you want to pitch in something?
Yeah, I have something I want to share with people, right? The quantum computing has so many areas. I've done stopped at 25 or 26 or 27 in that list that we can share again to the attendees, where many areas of research can be done. Now, here is my plan. This is K.R.S.Murthy talking, and with the support of all of you and everyone else, I want to create innovative research centers for quantum computing. Coming back to more on the quantum computing area, quantum computing applications, and bring the top scientists, top technologists, top manager, leaders, and so on, and create many centers across US, across the globe. Is my plan. I have a 2-hour presentation whenever it is required. I've made how to do, what to do, how the structure should be of the organization. Here we are focusing on quantum computing because that is what is the word we like, right? The most liked word today and in our group is quantum computing. What are the things, etc.? Research, various areas of application in climatology, for example, right? And in bird migration, where multiple parameters are involved. That's where quantum computing fits in compared to any other AI or general binary digital based technology.
Yeah. So I just want to pitch in on the special about children and vaccine. Fortunately, my daughter had a daughter hardly 2 months, and I can tell you, you need to go through all the vaccination because there are some hereditary and some are non-hereditary. Hereditary comes from the genes and the DNA and etc. The, as I said, parent side, that is the mother side and father side, both contribute to it. And so there is a, as soon as they are born, they have to be uh, uh, preserved because some of the ailments which occur because of the gene mutation can be very catastrophic. So they try to provide the various DTaP like polio and then TB and diphtheria. So there are many initial and then there are sequence of vaccines which children have to take. And now this has nothing to do with quantum, but as such, it is important from safety point of view, and this can be uh, depends on how the sequencing which is there for the DNA, RNA, mRNA, tRNA, and so on and so forth. Does one uh, how does one create vaccines by doing mathematical computation, whether it's a high performance computing or quantum, are critical to be doing dynamically because every year, like flu changes as flu variations come. Same way, so that is the reason, and especially this impacts children because they are poor, they don't understand what they are going through, they cannot express, and that is one of the challenges. Whereas human being, like being adult, we can express, hey, this is paining, that is paining. They don't, they only cry. So it is a hard task for parents, and therefore the physicians, doctors, clinicians, all these people, uh, the knowledge they gain, if it is accumulated and served in a structured way, it helps. So that is my take on that. And of course, AI/ML is always going to be there. So you are going to have models. You are going to have models and mini models. And the question is, how fast can you compute? So it gets down to compute infrastructure, and therefore quantum, the approximation computing, which can do much faster using this all this Fourier transform, Laplace transform, and what kinds of transforms you have, transformers. So that's one of the key thing which I can bring to the table. So at this time, I think we are reaching the 10:15. There is 1.25 hours. I would like this.
I want to make a 2-minute statement if it's okay.
Yeah, sure. Before we open the questions for all the attendees,
then you can ask her more questions if required.
Correct.
Say what the list of things research center that I talked about is not just an idea of track record of having done it. Number one. Number two, I'm part of private equity. We have colleague private equity companies as well, but where money can be brought in, not just ideas. Number one. Number two, I have track record of being advisor to the chiefs of Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines in USA, and managing about $100 million per year for 15 years when I was in Bell Labs, where I brought the money and so on. And another one is that I've developed holistic Indian national strategies in 9 verticals. Sub-verticals go up to 25 totally for each case, which includes energy, healthcare, in this, what we are talking about, and education, water, high-speed railway, like that. Now, national nanotechnology, implementation, productization, supply chain. Today it's only still science. So some of that I've already done, presented to the union ministers in India and similar things in USA. So I'm looking for people. Beginners is okay, but I'm looking for experts in the beginning, and I'll bring the bigger side of the money and smaller side of the money core seed group that we'll have to create. And you're all welcome to participate and partake. Thank you.
Okay. So what I will do at this time is I'll open the floor. Nikhil, you have any numbers on how many are available to, if they want to raise, please raise your hand and he will enable you to talk.
Yeah.
Go ahead. The floor is open now for everybody to ask question. Even any question, okay? It doesn't have to be really specific to this. You can ask any question. KRS is a all-rounder. And so go ahead. Nikhil, anybody? You have any idea what things are going on? I hope people are there to ask questions. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you all. First of all, it was really a wonderful talk as I have seen application of quantum computing in the epidemiology. And one more thing I just want to ask for infrastructure wise, when developing the quantum computing application to this kind of medical epidemiology, what will be the difference when we are developing normal case study and the quantum application? So what can be the difference and how we are differentiating? Yes, this is simple in AI model, or this is a quantum AI model, or such study is related to that. Yeah.
Okay, let me take that. See, don't mix up AI and quantum, right? Because they're supposed to be different paradigms altogether. Number one, you can do AI, whatever different AI versions are there. Quantum overall is one category rather than one technique, as you probably already know, but I'm going to clarify. And in quantum computing, different physics properties are being utilized. As I said, talked about superposition of electrons in an atom. That's one category. Josephson junction is another category, very big. And I don't want to get into the physics. We can get into the details of Josephson junction, which companies are doing, etc. There are many companies working on it. That's the second kind. So each case, the lab don't have to be their own exclusive. Unfortunately, today, this quantum can be realized only at what's called cryogenic temperatures. You cannot do it at any, not even negative temperatures up to 20, 30, 40, 50. You have to go up to liquid helium or below to be able to see something, including Josephson junction, right? I'm just giving one example. All of them, and that's where the quantumness is being seen. And if you want to study, any one of you, please study low temperature physics. That's very, very important for everything in quantum, number one. Number two, and even if you can go up to and sort of touch base with at least what is called Bose-Einstein condensate, where the property of whatever matter is there is very strange, totally, behooving to all of us how they behave. And so we have not gone there to do any quantum work. It's not practical, but even a few degrees, above that, we'll see a lot more different properties, because as I said, the Bose-Einstein condensate is a different state of matter. Even at the temperatures that we are already doing different quantum computing, there are different states of matter. A lot of people don't explain very clearly that property is being used. You cannot do it in a normal temperature, human convenient temperature, right? From 25, 24, and even 0 degrees and things so on. The properties do not exist. This is the
Yeah,
property of
perfectly.
matter.
Yeah, perfectly true. Actually, I have seen one Australian research center who is working in quantum medical applications, and an Indian government also promoting the quantum medical mission. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
this was my question. Like, what when I am just reading the draft, because they are just asking for the proposals, and when I am just going for this kind of research work, then this kind of limitations are there. What you are explaining right now. So how
Yes,
we are justifying that yes, we actually doing in the quantum medical application. That is the thing that you have
absolutely.
told. Yeah, that you have told perfectly true thing, and this is really nice. So I'm just want to understand, if we just let's assume I have to write some proposal, because it's a kind of a like still like a hypothetical approach. Okay, if we want to the work on the ground reality, whatever the suggestion you are mentioning, as I understood, what is the quantum, how quantum states are working, but for medical application you told us that a low temperature is still needed. Okay, so what kind of prime measures
No,
for
no, it's
those
nothing to do
such
medical. It is
development?
the quantum property only we are doing with the
Mhm,
application concept area of healthcare. But you're not trying to do healthcare at that temperature, right? It's only
mhm,
because humans cannot even be even 0 degree below. It's not easy, right? After a while, so
right, right.
don't get confused between healthcare and quantum devices, quantum property, quantum physics, right? Low
Mhm,
temperature physics, properties of matter. Those are the things separate from where the computing is done for different verticals. Healthcare is what you are looking at. As I mentioned, I have about listed 27 and stopped, but I can go up to 25 or 30 easily,
mhm,
because there are so many. I didn't have time to write all of them. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
yeah, thank
essentially in the proposal, what Aditi I will say is you can project that you will require certain uh, equipments or at least the access to the
Mhm.
cloud-based uh, that way simulation can be done. So
Yeah, I
lot of
can.
things can be, yeah, go ahead. Taposh,
No,
go
I
ahead.
can. I can add, Aditi, depending on what you're trying to do, right? So there has been a lot of combination of quantum and machine learning these days, right? And then
Mhm.
quantum AI applications as well. So you could use, as Prakash said, right, a D-Wave computer for optimization. You could use Qiskit or anything from IBM for doing the projection along
That
with
is
your
okay. But
machine.
for healthcare application, it will be too
Yes.
much different, because it's a kind of quantum AI ML part. Okay, and
Hmm.
what I already sir told na, that we require, if you I want to deploy some kind of prototype. Okay, for healthcare application, that will be certainly different. What I am doing for my 5G or 6G use case, this is entirely different part. So I just want to get insights, like what, yes, you were telling, you people are telling, like what kind of instruments we needed, and what kind of,
Okay.
so
So you want
simulation
to do
part is
something in
right.
hardware, basically. That's what you're thinking of.
Yeah, of course,
There
for
are, yeah,
quantum,
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
for quantum healthcare
So there are
application development.
applications. Look at Keysight
Hmm.
Technologies and other things that have been developing hardware applications in quantum for MRI scans and other things. So there have been some already been there as well. So you can look at that from software standpoint. I can clearly tell what we have a lot of ways where you can use cloud applications, but for hardware is a little more
No,
complicated.
no, no. There are two different things. The problem is that only the simulation for healthcare application, especially, okay, because we have to test healthcare application in the proper way. Okay, if you want to claim something. Okay, in QSKIT, you just simulate the model. Okay, for healthcare application, even in QSKIT, we are not supposed to do DNA and other things. है ना? Let me check. There are some things different. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So let me put it there are software available
Mhm.
like uh, you have got Opal Fire if you are using Rigetti, you have got Opal what do you call Colorado if you are going to use
Mhm.
what do you call the
Right. Mhm.
IonQ. So there are every technology that is used for ion trapping or to
Mhm.
superconducting quantum transmon or related to what do you call the D wave, which is the traditional
Yes.
entropy
Mhm.
based. So you have
Mhm.
got solvers and solutions for entropy, variational
Right. Mhm.
VCQ and all, which we had discussed in the previous
Mhm.
QML. You can go back and
Right.
look at the QML event which
Mhm.
we had done previously. So there are ways to, in fact, for diamond, if you go diamond, then it can be at room temperature also. But it takes 1 year to even set up such a thing. So the
Right. Right. Right.
technology wise, you can even use photonics, you can use, so there are, because it's a matter of wave and
Mhm.
particle and interchangeable and uncertainty principle and all that. So
Mhm.
there are enough literature available. So you
Mhm.
can definitely go practically if you want by using one of the technology. And if you are in
Mhm.
India or you can use Bangalore, they have got the Raman Research Lab, which has got all the
Okay.
uh, needs that you need for a photonic based implementation.
Okay.
And so is in Pune.
No, yeah, no,
Very good.
Mhm.
you're
Yeah.
exactly right. I mean, there are multiple ways of doing this quantum thing. And being in healthcare for last
Mhm.
decade, right, Aditi, for 11, 12 years
Mhm.
now, I have seen a lot of things in that area. So I don't understand what you are trying to say. What's different about
My
it?
thing is very
Why did
simple. My thing is, yeah, my thing is very simple. You just go through the Australian Research Center for Quantum Medical Applications.
hmm
You will find out so many things, and they are really working on the quantum side, not only hypothetical side. Okay, so just want to know how, if let's assume if you are talking about the COVID vaccine or COVID and like detecting the symptoms of the COVID. Okay, so what kind of strategy and what kind of methodology, if I'm just working on a simple AIML model, and if I want to do QML model, what will be the difference? What kind of approach we have to follow?
Yeah, so
Because
that's a very good question, and it's small and confined. So typically, epidemiology models follow a component modeling, right? If you have model so you go to like start with a very simple SEIR, right?
Mhm,
SEIR stands for susceptible, exposed, infectious, recovered. It's a component
okay.
model. Everybody, when they start with simple epidemiology, they start with that. You could
Mhm,
make it more compute intensive by making it derivatives and use calculus to
mhm,
define that. At certain
okay.
point, you have to combine this, and that's my work predominantly. What we have done for last 4 5 years, we've
Mhm,
combined that with that of the forecasting and AIML approaches. Like we use deep learning approaches combined with SEIR
mhm,
approaches to figure out how to do that. But now with quantum, the advantage is if you have a very vast data set that your normal PC cannot do it, and you want to
mhm,
optimize a certain area. Another aspect
mhm,
of or limitation of SEIR was it uses something called as reproduction number. Reproduction number
mhm,
is the number of people get infected from one person, right? So if
mhm,
one person has virus and if they
mhm,
impact 10 people, then the reproduction number is 10. When
mhm,
it's 1.1, I think it's not 10 exactly.
mhm,
But the logic is you could model that at a per
mhm,
virus level with quantum. Today, in classical computing, if I have 10 viruses, if I know the 10 infection, there are certain parameters, beta and gamma, that use how a person goes from susceptible to exposed, from exposed to the next stage, right? With
mhm,
quantum, what the advantage I get is I can expand across multiple viruses, multiple generations of viruses, all in one go. So you could use that as one strategy for proposal. Not much work has been done in that area. because of the technology limitations. But with quantum QML, you could do that. And then you can optimize it with wave and stuff like that.
But I could understand that that is more towards to the DNA sequencing, like what whenever a virus is attached to the some kind of thing DNA, so DNA sequencing is going to change. Where my quantum medical application plays a role. So you just if you can guide us to like it will be better because it's a
So
certainly
what,
new idea, right?
Aditi, what we do is we take it offline. You can communicate to us, and we will be able to handle that.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Right,
think with that,
Can I
is
ask
there
a
any question?
question? I have a question I've been trying to get. Which is kind of
Just
related, but in mapping.
just hold on.
Oh, all right.
K.R.S.Murthy. Yeah, go ahead. Who is that? Questions?
So this is Fred. I've been raising my hand, waiting for my turn. So in mapping
Sorry.
these
Go ahead.
epidemiological models to quantum machine learning algorithms, this is not an easy thing. Encoding quantum to classical translations and a hybrid interfacing is really hard to do. And a lot of times the overhead in that encoding process can get rid of the gains. What mathematical work is being done to facilitate that as a practical matter? That's the first question. What research is there? Where can I look to see the gains being made in that area of going from the classical to the quantum type of computing interfaces? The big question is, it appears to me that these different organizations, the CDC and FDA and other organizations that have this data, it's long, long overdue for them to start working together and build bridges to make this database available and anonymized, but in a geographically centered way, because there's HIPAA concerns and CP&I, all that kind of stuff. What the heck is taking these people so damn long to get their act together? What can be done to light a fire under them? Is this something Elon Musk can help make happen? The amount of money we could save by preventative disease control is mind-boggling if we do this. Yeah, I applaud the methodology being used to look at the wastewater treatment data, but is that really enough? Do they have enough sensors? Do they have enough? What kind of things are they even? What kind of biomarkers are they even looking at? How do we know that that's at the critical mass to be effective? And then how the heck is that data being? Why is it not being used if it is sufficient data? I see Taposh here responding to me. Thank you very much with those links. I'll look at them right away. All right, those are my two questions.
Yeah, I'll answer one of them. You have a very good point about different agencies operating in islands apparently, and what is important is cross-agency or inter-agency, either coordination body, managing body, supervising body, whatever you want to call it, different roles they can play, so that between the agencies there is a syncing up routinely, right? Every 3 months, every 6 months, whatever it takes to do at different levels. And this is required for all agencies, right? We're not only limiting to healthcare agencies in our country, in USA. These agencies are islands also in themselves. That has to be, that's again a very important point that you brought.
Yeah, we're singing, you're preaching to the choir, and that's exactly the point. So my question is, what can we as an organization do to accelerate that? How can we put pressure on them to get their act together, unify?
That when to do that, we can have a think tank sometime, and I'll be glad to
Let's
pitch
do
in
that.
my part.
Let's do that. Let's invite Elon Musk.
No. Don't throw big names, because if he wants to do it, let him do it. We don't want to wait for him to wake up and do whatever it is, because he has own limitations of how much time he has, how much mind share that he has. All of us should be able to pitch in.
Yeah, let's not get distracted with Elon, right? I'm just saying that there's certainly we need to do something to get the right. We need to get the right butt weight in the meeting. That's what I'm saying.
I agree with you. If you know Elon, just give me a call. Yeah.
So
Just keep pushing it around. See, throwing big names is easy, right? So if we don't know them, what is the use?
I'm past that. I'm past that. Let it go. Okay, let's focus on the process and the result.
correct.
So
So
I understand that, but don't keep on saying we should be talking to Elon Musk.
I did. You were the one who's saying it.
No, we cannot wait for him. Yeah.
yeah, go
He
ahead.
has his own interest, though.
Yeah.
He has his own time and interest. Let's
Okay, we're past that. We're past that. We're past
Sure.
that.
do it up as much as we can.
Sure. Taposh, you want to take the second question? Go ahead.
Yeah, hi Fred.
Hi.
What was your second question? Sorry, I got lost in that discussion.
Yeah, of course. So the idea is that even if we had the compute power, the quantum compute power, the number of qubits, there's still a major problem, a challenge in mapping any kind of classical to quantum algorithms for processing, like the epidemiological models that are being done today in classical computing, and being able to do that translation to a quantum there's like an encoding process, which is non-trivial. So what kind of research is being done to help accelerate that, or what are the hotbeds in IEEE or where we can, or the whatever standards where we can look at that research and track it?
Yeah, so that's an excellent question. I know FDA is looking at lot of sponsoring lot of these research ideas. I think there was a new organization for healthcare formed, the prior organization for healthcare research, and that's been continued as well. Given that the way we approach, and you probably know this, is we ask for proposals and we do SBIRs and STTRs and do sponsor research in that area. But I think the biggest fundamental difference is these are grassroots efforts done by done by individuals, right? There is no like a government-led organization trying to do a overhaul of all these things, right? So I agree with you. While there is a lot of technologies being available to us, especially in this area of healthcare, there seems to be a gap, and then that gap is an opportunity as well. So thinking through it.
But yeah. And so exactly. And my point is, now that we've identified a gap, the first question is, well, where is the hotbed of activity in that area? What university, what standard, and so forth is this already being looked at? And then, how do we grow that ecosystem in the next
Yeah.
one?
So
that's what you're addressing, and
yeah.
you're saying, oh, well, it's early on, but it seems like it's not, it may not, and I don't know this, I'm not the expert, you guys are, you guys are the expert. It seems that maybe people are not paying enough attention to it, and I could be wrong, and I could be speaking out of school, but I would love to see if somebody knew where I could look to start getting smart on that topic of the encoding process.
I can definitely tell you one thing is there is a lot of work both at quantum at MIT and Harvard on the quantum as well as on the epidemiology side of things. Yeah, the marriage of these two things has not seen as many papers as one would like.
Okay.
And maybe, yeah, so I think let's keep in touch. As we find something, we'll definitely like to share.
How would we keep in touch? That's the other question.
Yeah, I think Prakash has done a good job leading this IEEE thing.
Right.
There is a forum.
Yeah. I can give you this one, Cloud 24
if you could
by
put
7.
it in the chat, so
yeah, I'll put it in the chat. While in the meantime, I'll also suggest that you go through one of the presentations done by us, and that is related to QML. So what I would say is, if you go through the QML presentation, you will be able to see how the encoding is important, what types of encodings are available.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, what you need is the data, and once you have data, you need to map to encode it
Yes.
to proper, like you can do simple standard encoding is like 00011011, so that is equal to your digital number, right? But then do you only have four? What is the number of classification you need? How many bases you need? So those are the aspects, and I think we have done a decent job. If you look at the QML presentation, and I'll also introduce to the expert who spoke, Professor Gokhale from Mumbai. He has done a lot of work on that. So you can send me mail, and Taposh is there. And what I will do is I'll try to get you more information as much as possible, because encoding and then processing, mapping, and then decoding, that's the key.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day in quantum, you have got universal gates.
Yep.
So how do you map logical to physical?
What
And
tools are there to or LLMs agents are there that we need to develop to do that process
exactly.
and automate? Yeah.
So
Okay.
we will have to develop some kind of a uh, what you call based on the data, because data is the clear indicator. How do we classify in one dimension, n dimension? Because once you map, like you have got VCQ, right? If you map from 2 dimension to 4 dimension, the separation is very easy, the classification easy. So you can uh, easily classify, easily find the patterns, and then get the insights, and then eventually apply them. So there is a way to method to the madness, and QML is the right way to do it. And how?
Right.
That is encoding and decoding. That's the key, along with the various mapping.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think you
I
observe the one.
mentioned encoding, but of course it's also decoding, as you said.
Yeah, encode and decode both are important. And then there is a sparse coding, like example we do in 5G example, sparse coding with the what you call polar code, and there are some other like I don't recollect, but there are other sparse coding methodologies, and it can be n dimension. So the coding should carry in n dimension, so that you can elevate the level from 2 qubit to, let's say, 2 to the power and 100 qubits, 2 to the power 100. Then your pattern is easy to recognize depending on the volume of data, and therefore it's important. Most of the things are in encoding, decoding, and mapping. That's the
Right.
key. But then somebody has to do research on that, or some papers we have to share. So
Right.
go ahead and check it out on the QML, which we have under what do you call? I'll send me the mail. I'll give you the specific.
Yeah, I see
you
your email cloud24/7 at IEEE. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Is that
IEEE.org.
All right, I'll
That is
give you my email. But you also just mentioned another thing for 5G QML. You know, in just the RAN, there are thousands of counters, KPI, KQI, and so on. Is that what you're modeling as features in your quantum machine learning algorithms, or what?
No,
is
what we are showing is what are the various methods that can be applied, statistical, and how do we encode, what do you encode, and those are the things. So maybe I will close it here, but I
Okay.
will send you the link. You can share your email before I take it, and then Fred, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Let me put the in
Yeah,
the
put
chat,
the
or I'll send you an email if
yeah.
this thing gets.
So in the meantime, I'll stop the recording, and we will uh, stop the recording first.
Thank you, Prakash and Dutta-Ray.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
I
just
think I have stopped the record. Click.
Okay.
Let's see. Is it stopped? Taposh, is it stopped? Just
So I put in my email address.
yeah. I'll just take 1 sec. Okay. So let me come back.
It looks like the recording is still in process.
Yeah, I'm trying to stop it.
But it's just
Anybody there who can? Yeah, recording. I think it should stop, but we'll not know whether it has stopped. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I will not end the call. I'll just keep it till the recording is stopped, and I will connect with you, Fred, later. And thank you, everyone. Hopefully, if people drop out,
Thank
please go
you.
ahead.
Thank you
And
very much.
we will see you. If I end the call anyway, I'll get it. But anyway, I'll just check your email. Taposh, can you help me? Just get his email, no, because I'm not able to move my cursor.
Well,
No, not yours, not yours. We need Fred's. Fred, you can spell it out also if you can.
yeah, it's just FFEISULLIN@gmail.com. But I'm going to send
Okay.
you to Cloud
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah, send it, and I will end the call here, and I will follow up with you
Thank
along
you.
with
Thank you so
Taposh
much, team. It was a great,
Dr.
great
SR.
presentation.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, everyone. We'll end the call here with this. Yep.
Thank you.